So, what do you think about the term DE&I now? Back in 2018, DEI was all the rage. Now, not so much. Well, wake up, leaders. This is Glen, Guyton, your cultural futurist and keynote speaker, helping you unlock the power of your people. It's time for our executive coffee break. I have my beverage in hand. I hope you have yours too. They say you can't choose your family, but you can choose your workplace culture and your beverage. My goal is to equip you with effective strategies to foster a culture of innovation, reduce workplace stress, and elevate team performance. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Well, today we are going to be addressing the rather spicy topic of DEI backlash. Yes, my friends, we're going to get into the deep end of the pool where some seem to think that diversity, equity, inclusion is just fancy corporate jargon rather than an essential component for a thriving workplace. The tide is turned. I mean, no doubt about it. And I think that's what happens when we start adopting terminology. We start doing what's popular instead of understanding how we can connect these strategies to the work that we're doing. For many organizations, DE&I became this standalone thing, and it just became DE&I, right? It wasn't about diversity, it wasn't about equity, and it wasn't about inclusion. Hey, we have to slap this banner on something. We have to hire someone and put these 3 letters behind their name. And now that term has become somewhat of a pejorative term in some workplaces, not everywhere. Some people have been doing inclusive leadership right for a long time, and I think they'll continue to do it right. But I think we need to think about this. What's next? Now that DE&I has become part of the political vernacular, the political fray, everyone is using it in different ways. And is this person a DE&I hire? I think I even heard that when the bridge was in Baltimore, when the barge collided with that. They blamed it on DE&I. Now, I don't know how they blame a power outage on the ship on diversity, equity, and inclusion, but that's where we are now. That's the real world of where we are. And we have to deal with these things. As a speaker, as a workplace trainer, you have to pay attention to what's going on. You have to pay attention to what's going on, so I have to pay attention to what's going on in the world. And I can tell you that, hey, you need to do DE&I, don't back down. But you have stakeholders, you have other constituents that you are responsible for. Some people in the corporate office have gotten cold feet when you say anything about diversity. Even SHRM has dropped the equity part. I don't know what that means. I'm reading up on it, trying to figure out why they've dropped that. But so what's next? What's next for you all? Some of you have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for these programs and have hired people, and now you fired people. So what's next? Where do we go? What's the next thing that we're going to embrace? Because the world will continue to change, and the people that liked DE&I, that like diversity, equity, inclusion, are still part of your workforce. What are you telling them? Hey, it's okay, people. All that stuff that we taught you all, we're not doing that anymore. We're going back to our old ways of HIE. What's HIE? Homogeneity, homogeneity. Maybe that's how we pronounce it. Homogeneity, inequity, and exclusion. That's going to be our new principles around here. DEI is gone, so we're going to bring in HIE. What do you tell people? That you didn't know what you were doing for the last 4 years? Is that what we're going to say? Well, hopefully not. Because the reason why we were doing diversity, equity, inclusion still exists. Now we've had these type of inclusive practices for a long time. One time we talked about affirmative action. As we came out of the civil rights era and we moved into things called integration. So we've changed the names of these programs and how we execute them for decades. So none of this is new. Even the backlash is not new. But what kind of workplace do you want? I think that's the question that you should ask yourself as a leader. What kind of workplace do you want? Do you want a workplace of uniformity, bias, and segregation? UBS. Maybe that's the new principle. Hey, again, DEI is gone. We're into UBS now. Uniformity, bias, and segregation. Those things sound delightful, don't they? Are those things going to get you where you need to be? Those are the questions that we should have asked ourselves before we jumped into the DE&I waters. What do we want to accomplish? How do we get there? And who do we need to get us there? One of the things I say is, hey, we need to unlock the power of our people. Our people resources are so important. And so as part of our strategic planning, how do we get the best employees? How do we keep the best employees? And how do we continue to have a pipeline where our best employees work well together so that we can be the best at what we do, that we can accomplish our mission with less stress and greater harmony? Isn't that what you want in your workplace? And the talent pool is going to continue to change. Look at the reports. Don't believe me, don't believe Glenn, but get on the government websites, the Bureau of Labor. They have a lot of information about what the workforce of 2030 is going to look like, the workforce of 2050. What are we looking at in the next 20 years as far as population growth, population density? You can be practicing MDI, monocultural discrimination and isolation, if you want to. But where are you going to get the people from if you believe in isolation versus inclusion? If you want a monocultural workforce, where are you going to get that from? Now, there's one country probably that I know of, realistically, that could practice a monocultural workforce. And that's probably China, right? Why? Because they have billions of people. But even China is struggling. Why? Because for so many years, they had a one-child policy. And now they're not replenishing their labor force, their population, with enough numbers because people are still having one child, and it's become part of the culture. And so I think that's even a lesson as we think about policies. The government set up a policy to reduce the population growth by limiting births. And so now it works so well that they're in a predicament where they won't have the labor force that they need of the future. So how are you going to get the people that you need to accomplish your mission in the next 5, 10 years? We don't even have to look 20 years in the future. What are you going to do within the next 5 and 10 years? Because you know what's going on in the US, population stagnation. Yes, that's happening for us too, because we've become a more educated, a more wealthy society. And so we're not having as many children as we had before. So that's going to be a real thing. And so now all of those organizations that are practicing SUE, that's my next acronym, SUE, sameness, unfairness, and exclusion, where are you going to get the people that you need? Where are you going to find the talent that you need? There are many wonderful industries now that are struggling because the cost of college is getting more expensive. There are fewer people going to college. The number of colleges that are out there are shrinking, and they're facing financial challenges. So what are we going to do? What are you going to do in order to maximize the opportunity that you have in regards to the labor force? That's something we have to think about. We have to think about those things. And so this is what I want to challenge you with. I don't care what you call these principles, if you call it DE and I, whatever you want to call it, if you drop the E and call it diversity and inclusion, what you need to learn how to do is you need to learn how to treat your people. Your people have to trust you. They need to understand what their role is in the workforce. And you need to start developing talent, right? You're going to have to develop the talent that you have. And hopefully that talent will draw in more talent, and you'll have the pool of qualified people that you need. So what are you going to do? Well, there are a few things that I'm going to have coming up in the next couple of months. I'm going to be talking about building trust in the workplace. How do we build trust? How do we, as leaders, provide the consistency that our teams need in order to perform at high levels? How do we drive innovation in the workplace? Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. So hopefully you've gotten a strategy for those of you that are unrolling the DE&I. Maybe you're practicing conformity, inequality, and discrimination now. I'm sure you're not doing that. I'm sure. I'm just kind of being a little facetious. I'm sure you're not doing those things. And again, I do understand. I understand that a number of you have been challenged by these things, but part of it is because I think that we failed to have a clear strategy when it came to DE&I. We just jumped on the bandwagon, and that's always a bad thing to do when you're in leadership, is just jumping on the bandwagon and you don't have a clear sense of where you need to go. So stay tuned, stay with me over the next couple of months, next couple of weeks. I'm going to be unveiling some things that I think will be helpful to you to navigate the coming disruption. It's not going to get any easier. I promise you that, especially in the political climate that we're in now. Rules are going to change. Policies are going to change, no matter who is elected. And so you need to be ready. We don't want a repeat of 2018. We don't. So how do we avoid that? How do you avoid the disruption that shut down your workplaces, that disrupted your workplaces, that caused strife and anxiety and took people away from what you're paying them for? How do you do that? I'll give you some tips of how to do that, how to build trust in your work, in your workplace, and really how to build harmonious teams. That's what we want. We want workplace harmony. You can call it whatever you want to. Shy away from some of the names and labels that may have been adopted in the past, but I want you to understand how to treat your people, how to get the most out of your people, and how to build harmonious teams. So 5 principles I want to share with you just as we close is that the things I want you to continue to do in this challenging environment is to continue to have open dialogue with your team members, with your employees. We have to start talking, communicating, letting people know what the expectations are as we move forward in these times of disruptions. Then to promote inclusive leadership, bring in the right people, bring in people that can relate to your teams, your workforce, bring in people that can speak the language that needs to be spoken in order to get the most out of the people that you've hired. And I do believe that we need to continue equitable practices. And what do I mean by that? I mean that when people put in equal work, they should have equal opportunity. Equal opportunity for equal effort in the workplace. Everyone likes that. It benefits everyone. Celebrate the diversity of your workforce. I'm not talking about skin color, but I'm talking about all of the backgrounds, the different achievements, the different skills people bring. Let them know why they're part of the team and why you value them. And finally, we want to continue learning about each other, learning about best practices, learning from other industries, learning from each other. So continuous learning is important. As we close, let's not forget, better leaders get better results. So to every one of you leading the charge for a more supportive and engaged workplace, I leave you with this. Stay bold, stay inspired, and remember that your actions today shape the culture of tomorrow. My name is Glen Guyton. You all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.